everybody, thank you for joining me. Welcome to another video. So today is a collab with Nutty Nail Co and hosted by Just Joe Nail Addict, and Eve's got a clue to the topic for this week, and it is ultimate bling. So she's all blinged up, Eve, today. So I've got her ready and I've put some nail tips on, and we're going to put some extension tips on. But I've got the extension gels out from Bone Pretty. These are massive 60ml pots. I mean, that's how big it is. So I've got nude pink, I've got a white. I'm not sure whether I'll use white at all. I'm definitely going to use the pink and the clear. Might not, don't know. Undecided. Anyway, I started to show you everything I was using in the nails, and then half of it I didn't use, so and I used other stuff that I didn't show, so I've cut that bit out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of each procedure, but some of it's repeated, so I'm not going to show you the whole thing. And I've just sped it up to twice speed so I can voice over, and then the overall video will be about 20 minutes long instead of nearly an hour. So I've done the index finger and I'm just doing the ring finger, same process, just kind of walking it, pull very slightly and try and keep your brush attached. Now let it settle a second before you put it in the lamp, and you'll see if any air bubbles pop up to the surface. If they do, you'll see them straight away. Just stab the top of it with point of a brush or something and it'll pop it and it'll disperse. So I do try and watch out for those things. I can sometimes miss one or two, but that's what to do if you need to. So I'm building this up in layers. I've got quite a big brush here, so there's some points where I use this brush and some points where I swap to that little tiny pointed brush just to get in and around the cuticle. So these are long nails. I wanted a fairly big bead I was picking up. If you're doing your own and they're not as long as this, then a smaller brush is more manageable. So that's that, but I've not quite got that apex on yet, so I'm just going in for another one, and I'll not walk that so far down the nail. I'll just try and keep that up at the top. And then I can't remember if I do on this one or not, but sometimes I use the tiny brush just to get around that cuticle. So I'm just feathering that off down to the bottom so the bottom's not getting too thick, and I'm leaving that up at the top. If it starts running away with you, just turn your hand over. Work on your middle bit first and then don't take it to your edges until you're pretty sure that you're happy with the top or the bottom. So make sure you get right down to the edges and just feather that down a little bit. Yeah, just using my little brush, it's much easier that way. Wipe off anything that get on the skin or fake skin and pop it in the lamp. Now this one I want to do a French with it, or a smile line with it, so I'm just going to get all that off my brush and then swap to my little one. I just find it so much easier to control it with a tiny brush than that really big one. So I'm just going to work the bottom. Can you see that air bubble up, pop? I'm going to start at the bottom and get the shape I want. I'm not bothered about the cuticle yet, I just want to get this bottom done. So you can always layer up with it, put another layer on, so just work on one bit, do the cuticle, don't go all the way down, or do the bottom bit and then add an extra bead on for your cuticle. That's it. Now the key to not getting air bubbles in is to keep your brush in contact with the gel as much as you possibly can. But I still like to see, do get an odd one, and I'll just pop it. So I'll take that up, but I don't want the bottom to run away, so I'm just going to cure that. Not fully cure, but just a quick half time. That's where I decide, no, leave it, go back in and get another blob later. So that's it. I'll put you the links to this extension gel in the description box. Don't forget, I've got a great Born Pretty discount code. I'll pop that up on the screen. So apart from all the bling that I'm putting in them and on them, the rest of it, all the gel products are Born Pretty today. So these are the 60ml extension gels. So I've just gone back in, I'm just perfecting the top edge and the bottom, and then I think I'll come back with another little tiny bead just to build that apex out a bit more. Yep. So I'm picking this up with my tiny brush, and that's just enough. Now when you've cured it, you will have to wipe off the tacky layer. Don't think it's not cured. If you tap it, it'll be hard cured. Give it a good 60 seconds in a LED lamp, and then it will have quite a tacky layer on, which is why you're able to build up all these layers. But make sure you give it a good clean and get all that off. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wipe around that edge once I've filed it with some white. So you want a nice little wall. And when I put this white on, it's a bit ineffectual really. It's not thick enough. You don't really see much of it, so I'd have been better off doing that bit with a white gel. Make it a bit thicker, but it is what it is at this stage. It was only to get definition between that and the clear. And because I'm keeping the bottom clear, oops, because I'm keeping the bottom clear, I will use a clean up brush just to clean that off that's on the clear nail plate there. Right, base coat on first. So I'm just going to show you on this one. I'll not show you on the pinky as well. But I've just gone in with the base coat. Now you can also, if you don't want to use a base coat, you can use your clear extension gel and just paint a thin layer of that on. And that'll do it. So a little bit of a mix of stuff. I've got these coppers, golds, I put some pearls in, a couple of studs, and then I don't think I've left it in the editing, but I also put a few caviar beads and stuff in there as well. So yeah, I was quite happy with what I put in. You can see some of the things on the table there that I said I was going to put in and then I didn't. So I'll give this 2 cures because there's quite a coverage of this glitter. I'll cure this and then go back in with another coat of base coat to put the next lot on, just to get a bit of depth to it. So a couple of gold metallic studs. And there we go. So I'll cure that and then come back with some more base coat. Flood it on. And then start adding a few more bits. These are like little gold rocks. Chunks of metal. just move them about till I'm happy. And then I'll give that a cure. So like I say, I've just shown you this one nail. And then what I do is, before I've put any of the pink extension gel on the pinky, I'm going to start at the bottom and put all the glittery bits in. So that's that. So now I'm going to do encapsulation with this clear. So quite a good helping. Files fairly easily, whether it's a hand file or an e-file, so you can put plenty on, make sure you've covered them in and make sure you've got all the way down. And I don't want any big air bubbles in it, so I'm just sort of patting it a little bit to make sure it goes in between everything. But it's beautifully clear, this. It's a gorgeous gel. I love it, and I love the consistency of it as well, to be honest. Look how clear that is. It's lovely. So you can go over the top of your pink, because we're going to file that down, and just make sure that we've got no dip in between those different colours. So I'll give that a 30 seconds, and then when I've gone in and done the other, because there's so much of it, I'll give it another minute when they're both done. So turning it over, just so it domes a little bit underneath. Gives me plenty to file. And now I'm doing a fade, so I'm going to use my big brush to put it on, and then I'm pretty sure I'll change to my little brush just to feather it down a bit. If I were using the more normal size gel application brush, I might have stuck to it, but this one's too big for that little tiny finger. So I end up getting it onto the side walls and I have to wipe it off, and oh, bit of a faff, but we got there in the end. So just pushing it up a bit more, and then oops, it's all run off that side. So yeah, little bit and layer it up would have been better. So I'm just going to feather that down and then wipe it off the skin and sort it out. So if you do get any on, you wipe it off as soon as you can. There we go. And I'll use that to put that back up there. So little brush now, just for that apex. That's it. And then I'll cure that. So I was going to show you some of the filing on this, but I've had to do it off camera because, like I said, we're at 20 minutes and that's at speeding it up, so I've not included any filing in this video. So now what I've got is I've got a mix of Born Pretty painting gel, which is really thick, and the Born Pretty white gel polish. And I've just mixed a little bit of that in with the gel paint because it was very thick and I wanted it to flow a bit more. Kind of look a bit more hollow in the middle and thick around the edge, if you know what I mean. So that's why I've mixed them together. Now this idea has come from a set of nails. I don't know if you've watched it, but Dorota Polishka. So I don't know if I've said that exactly right, but that's what I always say. I always pronounce it. It's P-A-L-I-C-K-A. Anyway, the nails that she'd got on herself at the time when she was doing this video I watched the other day was painted flowers. And I thought, oh my word, they are stunning. So I had to look back, and she did a video about a month ago showing how to do this. So if you want to see it done better, if you want to see it at its source, then go and have a check out with Dorota, because I've tried my best, and there's not as beautiful as hers, I'll say that now, but I love the idea, so thanks Dorota for this. You're a real inspiration. And we're attempting to make lace. So I've just used that mix because she uses her own products, and that the consistency of the white that she was using looked like that when I mix them together. So I've done that on both the nails, and then what I'm doing is, she says to have as little as possible on your brush and as fine a brush as you can. She has her own brands of brushes. This isn't one of hers, this is a Born Pretty one, but it's really, really fine. And we're just drawing those lace sort of joining threads that you'd have in between all the leaves or petals or whatever you want to make. So I'm just painting these in. So all of those have got to be joined in some way to another one. And I've just done the little line at the top to make it look like a French. Yeah, so where the thicker the lines, I've got too much on my brush, to be honest. It needs to be a lot finer. So maybe I'd have been better just using the gel polish for this bit. And there I've decided there were too big a gap, so I've just painted in another little leaf. So that's that. So I'll do that on both nails and give that a full cure. And then I'm getting onto this bling. Now I'm only going to show I'm only going to show you this one nail because I did the other one and I can't tell you. I have such a faff when it comes to using bling, which is why I don't use it that often. For every one that I managed to get into that tray, I've probably dropped 4 of them and they fall on the floor, and oh dear, yeah, I do find it a faff. I know some people find it really relaxing, don't they, putting the gems on. I find it more relaxing doing the painting than I do sticking the gems on. Anyway, this is what we've got, so I've blinged them up especially for you. So I'm doing that before I put any of the top coat on. Now, with the first nail that I did, I think one of the problems I had is I was trying to stick too many gems on at once, so they were moving about. And then I'd put one on and it'd be upside down and all sorts of things. So you learn as you go, don't you? So I learned from that, get the big ones on first, and then I ended up doing one side and then the other side. And now it's time for the top coat. So I want to get right into the edges of those crystals. I hope I'm not talking too much today. I haven't put any music on, have I? But yeah, I suppose there's a lot involved within this set. So sorry about that if I'm waffling too much. But I know some of you like it when I'm chatty. So, oh, look at that. Oh, I love that. I love the pearls in there and the caviar beads, and yeah, smashing. So that's that. So that's all top coated. And now, after top coat, I'm going back to finish these off. So for this bit, I'm using just the painting gel. I want it very white, I want it very thick. So all I'm going to do is paint around the outsides of all these petals or leaves. And then when you've painted them all, don't cure. So you can do half of these leaves if you think you might catch them, and then go back and do the others. But I've done the outline of all of them, and now I've got the dipping powder. It's called Soul of Flower. This is the white. Well, it's a 2-in-1 acrylic or dip powder. and I'm just going to sprinkle that onto the top. You could use glitter or any sort of sugaring if you want, but I just want it to look thicker, so I'm just using this acrylic powder. I'll cure that. And then a soft brush just to brush it all off. So here we are. I hope they fit the brief. That's as blingy as I get. Thank you to Anne-Marie for the idea, and to Joe for hosting the collab as usual, and Lee for doing the thumbnails for Instagram. So some of those girls are just on Instagram, some are just on YouTube, some are on both. So this is my ultimate bling. I've right enjoyed doing them. And thank you for Dorota for my lace idea. So I hope you've all enjoyed it and got something from it. So don't forget, if you could click the like on your way out, and if you've not already subscribed, please consider it. And I will see you very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Look after each other. Love you loads.